Sometimes, I just don't know how to begin my night vision videos. Between all the web series I've seen and all the thoughts I have about whatever I'm covering for a new upload, I know there's a good place to get conversation going. Every flow of consciousness has a natural rhythm, and that rhythm has a starting note to set the mood. You just need to find it. Concerning this case, there are a few different songs I want to spin out of my thoughts. Do I talk about how many things I've seen that look like this, or how good it is to find something that breaks a mold? Do I bring up art pieces or projects that can be seen as inspirations? Maybe I should talk about how nice it is when somebody gets a certain effect that they're going for right. 2H32 brings up a lot of things for me, mostly because in the wide world of web series startups, it looks and feels like a lot of things, all of which base themselves off of one thing. I've mentioned how massively influential To the Ark from Marble Hornets has been a few times already. You can't run away from the guy. When Troy Wagner created To the Ark, he made such a wave of inspiration that the water's going to keep rippling for years. In fact, let me grab a segment from my night vision video on 132 insert 132 that sets up our discussion of 2H32 perfectly. I want you to think for a moment about all the videos you've seen on YouTube or been shown clips of that are classified as creepy or strange with no explanation. Chances are, these are the kinds of videos you've seen in Top 10 or Top 5 or Top 50 or Top 50 Part 2, 3, and 4 list videos. Do you envision black and white footage, film grain, and people in cloaks, hoods, and scary makeup? How about someone in the woods or an old house wearing a mask? Are the videos all cut up, badly edited, move too fast, and have wild and strange behavior you need to slow down to see? Is there old music playing with plenty of audio distortion, and do you also hear music in reverse so it sounds like a vinyl record is melting? You've seen this all before. I know you have. It's commonplace now if you walk in our neck of the woods. But what's not common is finding videos or channels like these that deliver a reason to care. A genuine story, or plot, or purpose other than being creepy and hoping to make it into a list video. When it comes to finding that beautiful mid-ground of oversaturated, spooky videos and creators with artistic intentions, the closest we've gotten has been with Jack Torrance, which had a loose, but still easy enough to find story in its cache of found footage videos. Now, I've got something that beats it, with plenty of methods behind the madness. And once again, I've got something to beat Jack Torrance and check off the 1.5 million To the Ark inspirations, while somehow still standing right in the middle of them. Usually, I single out a new web series for being unique and original, bringing something new to the table. I very seldom find something that's doing what so many others are all attempting that instead perfects their practices. This is new ground for me. 2H32 really does come across like any of the hundreds of spooky, mysterious channels on YouTube with one-word video titles and a cryptic atmosphere. You have the mysterious channel name, those previously mentioned poetic video titles, and of course, a very creepy profile image. Taking a look at just the video thumbnails and channel banner though, you begin to change your tune when it comes to expectations. As far as most To the Ark disciples go, this is actually a pretty clean job, and the images reveal that whoever is crafting these videos is putting in effort. There's a talent and a skill curve to setting up shots like these, and an even higher demand goes into dressing videos using editing programs to create striking images. Now, looks can be very deceiving, so we shouldn't rejoice yet, but there's definitely cause for hope. You may have noticed by studying the videos that all of them are 2 minutes 32 seconds long. This falls in line with a pattern that begins with the first upload, which arrived on June 23, 2016. Every video is uploaded on the 23rd of the month, giving us a constant reflection of the number 232. Day 23, calendar year beginning with the number 2, 232. The opening sequence of the first video and every upload after is a digital clock counting up from 2:30:01 a.m. They usually conclude by counting to the time of 2:32 a.m. and then immediately freezing. As uploads have increased, the counting freeze has been followed by an extra scene. During the premiere video, we receive a series of clips that will all be seen again later in full context during focused uploads. The video 2H32 serves mainly as an introduction or channel trailer, teasing the viewer about what may come if they stay on board. Had these clips been part of a one-time collage, this video would have been just another spooky image mashup you'd see on the channel going for that to the arc atmosphere. But by showing us what we soon understand were previews of the series or things that have already happened in the story, 2H32 is breaking new ground. This can functionally be both a trailer for the channel and a setup within the story that a character made with very specific purpose. Moving on to the second upload, Door, from July 23rd of last year, we get a few uninterrupted scenes that let me know while viewing I might just be dealing with something special in this channel. We have a shot of a door, just like in the video thumbnail. Nothing much to it. Pay attention as you wait for something to happen while watching though, and you'll notice the light focused on the door appears to be a flashlight. Someone is actively recording and holding this light in place. In the context of the story, we're seeing a deliberate performance in whatever's about to happen involving the door. The characters have set this up for display. After about 40 seconds, the door begins to slowly open, and pauses with just enough space for somebody to put an arm through, or a set of long, monstrous claws as we see around 54 seconds in. The screen goes black, we get a dark shot of the door, and it reappears in its original state. And now this is where I really felt a pulse from 2H32. The door opens again, slowly, and pushes past its previous point, extending all the way and revealing only darkness. Because of the experience we just had with the claw coming out of the door, we're primed for something to come out of the shadows and scare us. We are expecting something to happen, and every second the door stays open and we see only darkness, the worse our anticipation gets. Eventually, we break away from the scene, moving on to the viewpoint of somebody walking in what appears to be a tunnel. They come across many trash bags, the contents of which we can only imagine, and soon end up in a place we saw from the opening video. During that sneak preview, we got to hear the person holding the camera. Here, check out the sequence as it happened. From that scene, we get an impression of danger. The cameraman is running from someone or something. It's the most prominent, prolonged scene in the trailer video, with shots of a location we're not going to easily forget. And here we are, right back in this place. The video ends with the clock reaching 2:32 and stopping, followed by a scene in the room with the door. It's darker now, but not so dark that we can't see as something steps in front of the camera and obscures our vision. From the shape, my best guess is that some kind of face or mask being worn. I know we get images similar to this in the following video, Doctor. Posted once again on the 23rd of the following month, this video takes away all the ability of sight we had in the previous upload. The images are unfocused or zoomed in far too much, giving us vague impressions of whatever's in sight. There are plenty of creepy music box chimes playing in the background, sudden startling noises, rasping sounds, and a general atmosphere of unease. Trying to figure out what's being seen here is a bit of a chore, but after careful study, you can make some sense of it. We appear to be on an operating table. To our left is someone wearing a form of the Plague Doctor mask. You can see the shape of the face through the eyebrow lines, cheekbones, and the long nose with bright spots for eyes. Particularly telling is when the mask is directly above us. It raises its chin, showing us the underside of the nose and the shadow that it's casting over the upper lips, while we still catch a glimpse of the bright eyes above the protruding nose. The red shape to our right also has an appearance like a face, though a lot less defined. And I really would bet that we're looking at these two from below because we're on an operating table. If you think of every time a character's perspective has been shown while they're in the operating room in a movie or TV show, there's usually been somebody above them and a bright light placed higher than that person. We've actually got that here. A shot of our Plague Doctor on the left, and then a glimpse of the bright light, seemingly centered over us. That's the best guess I can give something as blurry as this video. My next attempt would be saying that the camera is zoomed in on a couple of dolls that someone is turning around, really making sure our vision isn't clear so we won't see that they're just dolls. Considering the setup, the look of the face on the left, and the title of the video though, I'm banking on the operating table. Next up on the video menu is the upload labeled Atrocious. And before we begin, I do have to warn you, if anybody is sensitive to gore and blood, it's time to stop viewing. From here onward, the videos will be taking a turn into some body horror territory, and I suspect it will get worse in future uploads. If you're interested at all in following this series but can't hang on when it comes to guts and blood, I'm afraid this one isn't for you. But if you're cool with seeing insides become outsides, follow me and I'll show you where 2H32 convinced me it deserves a deeper look. Atrocious opens with someone exploring the woods at night, enjoying their walk until coming across a bleeding burlap bag hanging from a tree. The bag appears to be full of very fresh gore as the blood runs out of a corner and over the ground. Shots of the base of the tree show the bag has been up there for a while. There's a small river of blood that's formed beneath it. The person holding the camera sets up a slightly different view of the bag, showing more of the long chain keeping it suspended from the tree. We see it come down, seemingly on its own, and the cameraman approaches. Up close we can spot the tear in the bag and the blood soaking the material. In the following shot there's a real surprise. Whoever is holding the camera is not alone. The bag is dragged along in the chain while the camera follows, holding a flashlight to keep the scene lit. The video ends with the time, 2:32, followed by the scene of the bag coming down from the tree in reverse. This is a pretty good example of establishing a creepy atmosphere with scary images and not going off the rails trying to make the audience feel it. It's a slow, measured pace we take through the woods and up to the tree, and after seeing the bag and being very much exposed to what it's doing, we're left wondering what's going to happen next. We know there's been a pretty recent murder from the scene and whoever's responsible can come back at any moment. There is a reason to be afraid, especially when the bag drops. You expect something to happen when we get to the bag. An arm will fall out, or the killer will come back, or we might hear some horrible screaming from the woods. There was anticipation to start, we received an action that dialed up our tension, and now we're locked in for something to happen. The longer we don't get hit by a nasty surprise, the worse our anticipation gets. And then we get thrown for a curve when the bag is dragged off by somebody else. We realize that whoever's holding the camera can't possibly be doing that, and it's all too clear they are not alone. And maybe, just maybe, they're part of what led to someone's remains ending up in a burlap sack. Just like in the video titled Door, we are set up for a scary scene, given a reason to be afraid, and then teased about what's coming to get us, only to be taken away to a new perspective. There is genuine, intelligent design to these videos. It's not just an act of going out and filming something spooky. The video that comes next, Promenade, shows us who took away the burlap sack. A very odd person in a raincoat and a bloody mask. Again, the camera follows, lining up the scene so it catches everything. Whoever is holding it feels comfortable enough to approach the man in the raincoat. Assuming they're not accomplices, maybe our monster is deaf, blind, or possibly both. The video ends with the usual time freeze on 2:32 a.m., followed by a shot of the blood dripping off the raincoat man's head. In reverse. That makes 2 videos in a row with scenes that have been reversed at the end. The remaining uploads on the channel are a variety of clips showing new suited monsters in the woods. 1 or 2 make multiple appearances, but only one seems to be intelligent or fully conscious of the audience. The suited monster from the video, Invitation. In his introductory video, this monster presents a series of quick shots displaying organs thrown on the ground while making theatrical motions to follow him somewhere, much in the manner of a circus leader. For this reason, and the simplicity of having a name, we'll call him the Ringmaster. It seems fitting considering how the music playing in this upload is reminiscent of an old 1930s circus, and we have somebody in a bulbous costume dancing at the end. The Ringmaster has a message for us. It is indeed an invitation. To read it, you need to watch closely as the video strips of the dancing man roll by on the screen. The words have been placed behind them. In order, it says, 232, a very special invitation. I want to play. A second message comes through at the very end in a sea of timestamps for 2:32 a.m. Don't sleep. 232. Eat you. Wake up. I want to play. 232. I am hungry. And a third instance of 232 in Roman numerals below Wake up. I want to play. The Ringmaster's invitation is short and a bit cryptic, but clear enough to hear this. Step on up and play a game. Or be part of a show. Maybe get killed and stuffed in a burlap sack to be eaten, or perhaps be devoured alive in the middle of the woods. The way our next video goes, Overture, it could be any of those things, but consuming something is definitely part of the plan. Overture opens with a new masked man at a dinner table, preparing to eat something on a plate in front of him. He's so ready to have a meal there's a napkin stuffed in his shirt. And of course, let's not forget the dinner music. You may notice the item on the plate here resembles a face. 2 eyes, a mouth set into something shaped like a head and bleeding from all openings. And if it's not clear enough on first sight, the camera makes a brief jump into a more focused shot showing the eyes open wider, as if the head on the dinner plate just noticed that we're watching. We roll into some distortion, the first part containing a shot of some letters. You can make out O, V, I, and E, leading you to think movie. But the first letter would need to be an upside down M. Right now, there's no solid answer to what this says. We move on to a shot of dark liquid entering a red void. Seems to be the effect of one liquid being poured into another, with our perspective being placed under the surface of the first. More distortion follows, and then we have a scene of someone pouring wine. or more likely blood, into a glass for the man having dinner. Like many scenes we've witnessed so far, it plays in reverse, pulling the drink out of the glass. Next comes a scene of a skull with the usual 2:32 a.m. timestamp, which we'll be addressing in a moment, a dark shot of the head on the dinner plate, some distortion with the secret message EYICs inside, the number 3, 0, more images of liquid, and after the 2:32 a.m. timestamp at the end, a shot of the head from the dinner plate in a baby doll costume. If we didn't know this was supposed to be a head before, we certainly do now. So, let's address that skull in the timestamp. If anyone looked into the comment section for these videos, they'd find that every single upload after the first has a pinned comment from the channel owner. They've posted a skull with a timecode for the video using text art. Clicking on the timecode will bring you to that point in the video, usually towards the end, and usually at the start of the scenes played in reverse. It's completely up in the air as to why the channel's creator is doing this. My only current guess would be to mark their own presence during the upload, as if they're tagging themselves in the scene. Most of these timecodes do lead us to seeing an image of one of the masked men or monsters throughout the series. As for that head, I'm really thinking it's more indication of what the Ringmaster is after through his invitation. He's hungry, and even if it's not your flesh he wants, your blood seems just fine. Arguments can be made over the significance of the baby doll costume. It might be a message about a desire to eat children, it could be a sign that the feast is only beginning, or it could relate to the Ringmaster. The head in this image is different from what we saw on the plate. This one has a bigger mouth and one eye, which does not seem to be empty. You can catch it by studying the shot closely here, but the presence of something inside can be seen even more prominently through the video thumbnail as a light shines through. This resembles the Ringmaster almost exactly in the latest video to arrive, Interlude. A single eye in the white bandaged face, on the left, shining above a bloody mouth. I could continue to pick things apart from the videos that we haven't covered yet, but ultimately I'd just be analyzing content that doesn't quite link up to companion pieces. We don't have enough information to begin drawing major conclusions about what's happening in 2H32 beyond the Ringmaster's hunger and attempt to draw viewers into play. Whether it's a game he's talking about or a show is unknown. Titles like Overture, Opera, and Interlude definitely give the impression of a production, and in so many of these uploads, it seems as if we're being shown a very deliberate performance. There are two things I will mention before I leave you to explore what's left of 2H32 on your own. In the video immediately following Overture, Ascension, we open on a data entry for an old IBM computer. The date and time is turned from January 1st, 1980 at 13 minutes past midnight to February 23rd, 2003 at 2:32 a.m. In this video, we have a very long scene of somebody dragging an axe through some rather deep snow. It turns out that on February 23rd, 2003, there was a major snowstorm that dropped 8 to 12 inches over southwest Missouri. Other portions of Missouri and southeast Kansas also experienced very heavy snowfall. Plenty of snow could have fallen in other places on this date throughout the country, but all search results for February 23, 2003 bring up this one storm. Even if that's not being referenced, there was a major blizzard just a week prior, dropping about 28 inches of snow at its most damaging all the way from Boston to Washington, D.C. You could bet that on 2/23/2003, there was enough snow on the ground in a good amount of the country to record something like this. And finally, the infamous number, 232. According to numerology, 232 results in the number 7, which stands for the Seeker of Truth. Secrets and mysteries are the realm of the 7. It is an intellectual and also highly spiritual number, commonly bringing those born under the number 7 into the path of the metaphysical and paranormal. Number 232 has a few potential Bible and Torah references as well, but that can really be said of almost any number. The numerology seems to fit for what's happening in the series right now and the nature of most channels like this. We'll have to wait and see when it comes to the other mysteries. There are missing pieces for sure I feel we need to collect before building any major theories. I have my own suspicions based on what can be viewed in the remaining videos, but I'd rather not spoil your personal journey into the rest of 2H32. I can't quite say that it's refreshing to have a web series appear like this. It feels more gratifying than refreshing. Every time I spend a night looking through leads on new channels that I've accrued, I end up having to go through maybe 3 or 4 To The Ark wannabes, Jack Torrance wannabes, general creepy mystic atmosphere spook shows, stuff that looks and feels like 2H32, but nothing that understands what it's doing or delivers with as much talent. It's a channel that feels like someone spent a while studying all the inspired things that were too much alike and weren't working, then sat down and figured out how to execute it well. 2H32 provides mystery, it provides suspense, it gives you a few hooks, and it still does it all in that inspired by Marble Hornets way that so many people go for. It's inviting you into a realm of cryptic monsters being scary on purpose. We've seen this 1,000 times already, but what we haven't seen is this concept done with tact. It's actually getting you in through the door and giving you reasons to care. We do want to know what's going on. We want to see more of these monsters. We do care to find the meaning behind 2:32 a.m. These creators really thought about what they were doing and went for the best execution they could. I look forward to the 23rd of each month now. It's exciting to think of what else may come from this, and certainly we all want answers. But for now, check out 2H32 here on YouTube and catch the videos we didn't discuss. Be sure to subscribe if you like what you see. Major thanks for viewing, and major thanks to the supporters of the Nightmind Patreon, who fuel all of my studies on the Weird Wide Web. Stick around to the end of the video to see all of their names. Thanks for joining me in the dark again this evening. Once more, I'm Nick Nocturne, and I'll be seeing you again real soon. Sleep tight.